of the road to nowhere. There's a little bit of probably about half a mile to a mile of kind of paved dirt road until you get to where the trails start, and that's when you get to pick which way to go. We're going to be taking the road, the trail that zigzags for about what was it, about 1.8 miles to the loop, and then we're going to get started there. So this is the third switchback where we've come across on this trail. So most of the elevation gain you'll see on this first 1.8 miles, you'll see a lot of these. So far the difficulty is probably moderate because most of the straight stretches of this trail are pretty flat. But every time you get to a switchback like this, you've got elevation gain, and then it straightens out again. We'll see what it's like at the end of this, but so far that's what this stretch looks like. Okay, so this is the end of the first section of trail that takes a which I'll show you right here on the video, and it takes a left turn and then goes down. You can see the downgrade here, and it goes down to the beginning of the loop that we're going to be doing today. So the total distance to this point was exactly 1.85, just like the map said, although the map said 1.85 to the bottom of this, but that didn't include the initial hike from the parking area to the tunnel. So probably from yesterday's estimate of 1.8 to get to the loop, it might be more like 2, which is nice because it adds a little extra mileage. Okay, so we're at the bottom of the drop down. We have to the right, we'll go in the opposite direction of the loop that we want to go in. So we're going to be taking Forney Creek Trail to the left. I think about 1/4 mile, we take a right turn to go down to the cemetery. So let's head down there. So as you can see on all trails, there's a connector. So we're not quite at the cemetery trail, but we're almost there. We just have to turn right and go across the connector. And then we'll, I think the cemetery trail is actually just around this bend here. Yep, right across this bridge. Cool. Huh. Lesser traveled, but I wonder if it's, we'll see how interesting it is. Huh. There's no sign, except the no horses sign right there. Yeah, there's no sign right there. No horses. Secret trail. It may be boring or it may be really cool. Or, potentially, it could lead to a haunted Indian burial ground. These are the risks we take when we go on adventures. Okay, so the first cool thing we came across on the way to the cemetery is if you ever have a party of, let's say, 50 to 60 people, you can come out here in the middle of nowhere and have a big party. Because there is a massive picnic table, actually 3 large picnic tables in this random clearing. So I bet not many people know this is out here, so now you all do. So if you have a party, invite us. Okay, so we discovered the cemetery trail is actually a hill climb. So which I would consider this part a strenuous climb, a strenuous trail. So you don't want to work out, I don't recommend it. If you want to increase your mileage and get a good workout, I think I recommend it, but my actual recommendation depends on how cool the end of the trail is. So more to come. Ooh, oh, hold on here. Okay, I think this is actually kind of cool. There's a gate and we're arriving at the cemetery, and there are literally like old gravestones, some new ones as late as 1920s and 30s with flowers, but there are some crazy old stones here with flowers. This is really cool. Old ones with nothing on them. $18.95. This one is a newer infant one. That's sad. Another infant. We're just walking through the very center here. Some of these just have names. This could be, I don't know, but since most of them are dated 1920s or 30s, this could be all related to a epidemic of some kind that affected the infants around here. As long as we don't see a pile of stones, I'm fine. Which is a inside joke, I guess, for people who know about witches. Back during colonial times, they would kill and bury witches, and the only way you knew there was a witch around, a witch buried there, was just a pile of rocks. It might be an inappropriate joke in an actual cemetery, but I tend to make inappropriate jokes sometimes. 1915. This is very creepy. The ground actually indented around this, but 1918. It's really cool to see the cemetery though. Very old gravestones, especially those that have just a stone and no name. So very cool. I recommend it if you don't mind the vigorous climb for half a mile up the hill. But other than that, let's continue and get back down to the main. So when you return from the cemetery, remember that you took a right turn to come in. There's no sign. It's right after the bridge. So when you get back out, just take a right and continue on Lakeshore Trail, which goes back to the narrow trail. Not so much, as far as I can tell. It starts out as an uphill climb, but I don't think it's as bad as the cemetery trail. So far, I think the trail is still moderate if you don't take the cemetery trail. So it's another switchback. Got a picture of the switchback, the trail, how it goes that way. Similar to the first part of the trail, but this one isn't so much climbing. It's a flat walk. but it's a really cool trail. So Alright, so the trail heads down to the campground. It starts to do a, I'd say a, what, 20-30 degree grade drop here. You can, at about mid-range, you start hearing the water on the left side. So to me it sounds like a fairly good sized, I'm not gonna say river, like a brook maybe, or a creek. And it's, like I said, about halfway. And since we're downhill, this trail so far is definitely moderate, if not a little easier. Again, as long as you skip the cemetery trail that goes uphill. So far this is a really amazing hike. Okay, so we definitely arrived, because you can see down the hill what looks like a, definitely looks like a campground area, big open area, and there's a bridge actually that crosses the river. So there's some people camped out, but it actually looks like a really big camping area, that there's plenty of space for a lot of people. So this is a really beautiful area. It's shaded with very high trees, flat, and as you can see there's a ton of space for camping, plenty of room for people. It looks pretty rustic. There's some fire rings, logs to sit on. Obviously no bathroom facilities, but if you're looking for a backcountry campground, this is a really good one. It's a fairly big campground, and a little cooler. It's near the water. That's a nice one. All right, so right after you see the campgrounds on the left, the trail branches left and right. Left goes to the campground, and you can actually see the little symbol on the sign right there for the campground. 1/10 of a mile in that direction. Since we've just seen it, we're not going to go that way. We're just going to continue on our loop, which is to the right, both Bear Creek Trail and Springhouse Branch. I believe we're going to be taking Springhouse Branch through the tall mountain range along the creek. So we're going to head in that direction, and I'm hoping the views are as amazing as I expect them to be, but the foliage is pretty thick today, so I don't know if we're going to be able to see the sides very well. Actually a little side path here to go down to the water. Maybe we can see the cliffs better over here. I'm not sure. Okay, so this chocolate melted. So it's like a peanut melted chocolate mess. I've had those. Which probably is amazing. Yep, it's happened to me before. It's easier to eat that way. Oh my god. Good, right? Yes. When I'm gonna get chocolate all over my beard. Are everywhere, either millipede or centipede. If you aren't careful and step on one, they splatter badly. A lot of people find them really disgusting. All right, so after you left the camp campground and walked a ways along the brook. There's a important junction here, and you don't want to take the wrong turn. Right, Forney Creek is to the right. That's the one you want to go on for this loop that we're doing today. Going back is still the Lakeshore Trail because that's the first part of the loop. But if you take this left here, it's going to take you to another campground, 2.8 miles, Welch Ridge Trail. Actually, it's called on the map. We looked at that. It was Bear Creek Trail. And that goes on forever. It's not a loop trail. So if you want to do a different out and back, that's fine. You could actually just walk to the campground, take a break, or if you want to do a long hike, go the entire Welch Ridge. But today we're going to continue on Forney and continue on our loop. Like I suspected, the foliage, we're in the part of the trail that's between the two mountains. Problem is, as you can see, the foliage is really thick. We're between two mountains, but the views aren't as amazing as I was hoping because of the thickness of the foliage. In the fall, you'll see all the foliage, so if you look up, you'll see all the colors. But so we may actually come back in the fall to check that out. And then after the leaves fall, later here in Tennessee, in North Carolina, that would be much later in the year. So coming back when the leaves are gone, probably you'll see those amazing cliffs on each side. But right now, pretty much just have to enjoy the greenery. So far, so good. And we will stop at the next intersection and take a look at where we are. Sides, you'll get to this trail, and it's the end of that stretch. So you're going to take a right based on the Google Map estimates that we did in the last video. This is a climb to the ridge where we take a right and then walk along. It's going to be probably another flat section heading back on the other side of the loop, but this part's probably going to be a bit of a climb, so we'll find out which is part of the moderate level of this trail. I think it's not going to be too far of a climb, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so right after it levels off, you get to this really cool spot. It's a little brook crossing. Not too hard, but you do have to follow the rocks on the left that look pretty slippery, so you got to watch your footing. When you get to the top of that, we just finished that climb. It was maybe a quarter mile, if that, maybe 0.2. You'll get to this really cool hill. You'll see the sign. If you go left on Jonas Creek Trail, it goes through a similar terrain that we just went on, with a couple of mountains with a mountain on each side. Eventually you get to another campground, another backcountry campground. We are actually going to take the right now. Okay, so the trail continues, kind of a gradual descent, but if you look on the right as you're going up, there's this really nice valley where I was just actually thinking in the fall this trail would be beautiful because you'd see all the colors down there and up above on the canopy. And this area is just filled with leaves, so this is probably a prime fall hiking trail. So you can get a sense of how high the mountains are on each side of this trail. In this opening up ahead, that's a sheer cliff. You probably don't know if you can see it, but all that darkness all the way up, you can't even see the sky until way up there where it kind of gets a little lighter green. That's a really high cliff. Not much slope either. I would say that's almost straight up. And the valley goes down that way. You can't really see it through the trees, but it goes down and there's a mountain on both sides. And then on the left over here, just continues on up. So it's very quiet and peaceful here. And then just hills, the mountains on each side. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful here. Okay, so this is the, we just closed the loop, so we're going to be headed back the 1.8 miles to the tunnel again. So when you get to the end of the loop, just remember that right continues back on the loop again, left goes back to the tunnel, so don't take the wrong turn or you'll end up doing this whole thing again. So let's go. Things to remember coming back. You're going to see a sign that says tunnel bypass trail off to the right. Don't take it, stay on this trail. People see the word tunnel and they think they have to go down there, and you're going to end up going off in the middle of nowhere, 2 miles around, and it's basically to avoid the tunnel. When you get to this fork in the trail, take the left one that goes back to the trailhead. The one on the right just goes down to the other loop, so you want to stay left and keep on going. I know. So for those of you who don't know what being ducked means, in the Jeep community, if somebody likes your Jeep, they'll leave a duck on your Jeep somewhere. This is a cute little one with clouds. So I appreciate whoever did that, and I'll try to return the favor sometime. So as you can see on the hike today, we didn't hit any of the spectacular views I was hoping to see of mountain ranges. So this trail doesn't offer that, at least this time of year, but like I said earlier, I think that during the fall, after the fall, when the leaves disappear, I think it'll be, there are some opportunities for some really good views, but we could tell the trees just blocked everything. So there's that, but what you will get in the middle of summer on this trail is the cemetery, which is a really cool spot. You've got the campground, which is really secluded down underneath just soft dirt along a riverbed and right on the side of a mountain, so it's really peaceful and beautiful there. What this hike also offers, as you saw, we didn't take our lunch break at the campground. We decided to take our lunch break by the river, so there's nice spots along the river. They're just nice and peaceful and beautiful. And then later in the loop, if you take the same loop that we took, you'll have those just very peaceful, huge mountains on both sides as you're taking those switchbacks through the mountains. If that's your thing, this is the trail for you. And I also want to say to anyone who likes this video, please subscribe, click the button down below. Just take a few seconds, click the button down below. I'm trying to get at least 100 subscribers right now so that I can have my own URL. I'm trying to bring the highest quality hiking videos to YouTube, and that means I'm going to show you maps of where you are on the trail, trail highlights, all the best views on the trail, the spots where those are, any good picnic spots, any wildlife we see, all in 4K high quality video. So you can watch it on your big screen anytime you want. And so hope you enjoyed this video, hope you enjoyed this hike, and we'll see you on the next hike.